We're back. We didn't have to go anywhere.
All right. Okay, good.
So yeah, just before the break, we were talking about your video saved, and I was curious about this. Like, is that a medium that's I don't want to be so crass to say profitable, but does it make sense? Like, the time and effort into making a video, is there a return on that investment?
No, 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 I don't think so. We could talk about that. Just remember to get to it because I I gotta tell you wait for you to come back as I'll just fill you in. I mean, like I
Oh
tell
no,
you.
we're back. We're already back.
Oh, we're back. Okay,
Yep.
sorry. You're just saying that just to be cool, hey?
Yeah,
All
we're
right.
like.
Uh, the video, I was very very pleased to get involved with this with Alma Records and Universal because I really had this feeling that there was the demise of record companies and managers and so, I mean they still exist, I'm sure. But do you know? I don't know if someone says to me, you go on the Spotify and you go to Apple Music and someone breaks it down. I guess somewhere along the line, I'm waiting to find out. You had 5 million spins. I says, what does that mean? Like, what does that mean monetarily? I'm really not at this point in time. It's not about money. It's just really about just an understanding of because in my head, there is no such thing anymore. There's no such thing as record companies. No much, you know. I don't know where it works. Where's radio? Where I don't know. So if they say you sold, not sold, but you had 3 million listens, or some people go, what does that add up to? I can't answer anybody. That'll be $300. I mean, I don't know. So when I got involved with the record company and I talked to when I was talking to Warren Stewart at Universal way back, Dean Cameron was the president of EMI for a long time. When he passed away, I was there doing a bit of a eulogy, just playing a little bit for him, and I said it's got to be the demise of the record companies. I mean, Mr. Warren Stewart rather, he said to me, no, there's still things going on. So I was very pleased that Peter is with Alma Records and Universal is their worldwide distributors, so that I could actually find out. I basically did a record, the saved record, and almost just handed it to him and gave it to him just so that I could find out. Well, I didn't even want to finding out about how it actually breaks down and what you see at the end of it. Is there still any money in recording and without radio, or how it actually works out? But the other thing, the most important thing that I want to do with the record is I wanted to see how we can promote it. Where do they go to promote it? Where do you get the best promotion and stuff? Because what I wanted out of all this is to continue performing the way I do.
Right.
It's as if people say, I just wanted to let them know he's still alive. Alfie's still alive. And the more I let folks know that I'm out there, is the more when I make my phone calls and stuff, I can go and perform. I just figured that I needed a little something to sort of pump my, promotionalize me a little bit. I figured at
Sure.
this point in time in my life I needed that. So that's really the main reason that I went to a record company. The fact that Universal got involved and that I not nominated for a Grammy, but for God's sakes, I'm on a list. They're talking about it as far as all the distributors. I made it to the first list of Grammy nomination people. I mean, they still got two more numbering to do, like people that are coming in. So they maybe when they still got two more, so there's three of them. So by the time you get the third, I could be weeded out very easily. But I'm just saying the fact that they're mentioning that. So for all this, there's a Grammy. Now, I guess I won already, right? Because not that I won a Grammy, but I won in as far as like this a little bit of promotion that's out there, and they go the people scratching their heads, going like, "You got to be kidding," I mean, I did scratch my head. I said, "The hell is this shit?" But anyway, there's people talking. That's what I wanted out of it because I have no idea at all how record companies, how things work these days. I mean, were you just hearing yourself too that what are they talking about? Getting rid of '80s music, making it so somebody heard something about they're talking about. That could be completely wrong, but all of a sudden it's like I don't know. Where do you listen to the oldies? I mean, it's just a lot of old music people wanted to hear and stuff. But I don't know what to believe anymore. I don't know what to believe anymore.
Well, I mean, it's interesting that whole genre. You mentioned the '80s. That seems to be a genre in many different musical styles that
Yeah.
made a comeback a few years ago. That right now is there.
Yeah.
We talk to the rock people, it's there. We talk to the country people, it's there. And I can only chalk it up to the kids are their parents are Dave and my age, and we grew up pounding that into their heads, and that's why it's popular again. I don't know.
Well, I'm figuring that the only people that are still listening, that they listen to radio and listen to music, are our family, are people like me, our age and stuff. And somewhere along the line, that's why maybe we don't really know what the hell is going on, because the younger kids, I don't know, what are they listening to? Where is the money being generated from? I mean, these kids are sitting there in their bedrooms and making music and getting like 20 million people listening to their, go to their Facebook and go to their Instagram and whatnot. It's a world that is so completely like individualized.
Yep.
It's sort of like, it's not all of a sudden you go to your favorite radio station. These people have their own, they go to her specific or him specific,
Yeah.
and how many followers they got. They could sit there and sort of quietly sell a single, seems like 100 million of them to their followers, and they never have to come out into the open.
That's
Yep.
right. That's right. I mean,
So
go ahead.
no, I'm sorry. Just you go ahead, please. I'm talking
Well,
enough.
it's the wealth that's created this day is by isolation. It's not going out to a big, 100,000 seater arena anymore. To some degree it is, but if you're some guy like you said in his bedroom and you get, 500 million people watch your TikTok video, well, now you're
Shit, I could live on $50 a pop, I'm 50 bucks, 50 cents a pop,
yep.
I mean, eh, yeah, it's so anywhere that I could grasp onto anything like this, and when you see something like, for people and being gracious and performing for them and still make a living doing it, knowing that you're going to get paid a few bucks to go out and do what you're doing. But there you are. I'm holding on to what was the whole idea of performing live and musician as much as possible, and bringing it down to the basic, getting it down to, if it's just myself on guitar and me and a piano player, and if it allows, I've got the band, but I can keep going out there and seeing that everything we started to do is still somewhat alive and well and kicking in our lives here. So because it seems to be getting very, very close to diminishing in a big way. Or obviously, I'm just not young enough to be able to find out where all these concerts are going on, where all the kids get to see their, we're just not on the stream anymore, are we? I mean, I don't know where to go. I,
Well,
I
and it's funny. I'm a drummer, right? It's some fun to watch a 4-year-old play Tom Sawyer note for note. When back when I was learning, you had to, stick the quarters on the LP and figure it out. And I mean, I watched a 9-year-old little girl play bass today, like Jaco Pastorius. It was ridiculous. But
yeah.
it's the information that's coming at these kids so much now, right?
It's kind of ridiculous to think that it was always there. Oh, we never got a chance to see it all,
Right, right.
You get someone that's sort of like pretty damn good at what they do, and there was just a certain amount of people, like, first of all, they got the radio stations first, and then they know who to be able to put you out in front of them. And it was this, it was a small a bunch of folks who are the touring people who you put in front, and what do they want to listen, what FM radio was going to listen to. It's blown out of proportion now, and now we get to see. You're right. You get to see a 5-year-old doing Van Halen, a 5-year-old girl. I'm sorry. Let's say a 12, 15-year-old girl doing Van Halen songs all the way down with all the exactly the hammer-ons and stuff like that, and just sort of like me going like, okay,
And never saw them live. She would have never saw
never.
them live, right? But she
We
could
didn't.
watch the YouTube videos, and that's how she learned. But that's to your point. This is what we did. We wanted to go to see our heroes and a concert for them. Because there was no such thing as videos back then either, for that matter. Really.
No, no, and the thing is too that we get to see them. I mean, how long have they been there? I mean, they're probably these incredible prodigy, people all over the place. Now we're getting to see them because we're dealing with this social media ourselves.
That's true.
They were always there. We didn't know where to look for them. They're everywhere. People that sort of like, well, back then we started considering the people that were doing stuff, with all due respect, all those bands, the Rush and the Loverboy, stuff like that. They're fabulous. They're fabulous. Like, I mean, what if they really were a dime a dozen? What if I'm a dime a dozen? You know what I mean? It's like, Now there's so much to look at. It's if you wanted to play ball back then, well, they could make you break you, but everybody gets a piece of it. You know,
Mm.
the agents get a piece, the managers, the record companies, they all get a piece, and they pretty much demand what the hell they want. You want to make it, you play by those rules. Them rules is all gone now. You remember when they started getting really upset with Napster?
Oh yeah.
Oh well, hey, well they couldn't stop Napster, and here we are,
Yep.
the way of the world.
That's it. You had mentioned, whether it's 200 people or 3,000 or 50 and where.
70, sure, 50, yeah, 30, yeah.
So what's been going on over here? Everything opened up and we had reduced capacity. So it started out, 100 people, then it went to 150, then it went down to 100. Now it's back to about 150.
Yeah.
One of the things that I've noticed, and Dave and I have been playing shows a little bit, it's almost like 1973 Elvis in Las Vegas, where everybody's sitting in their chair drinking martinis and golf clapping. But you got to be on your game. People are paying attention. They're not well, they are dancing a little bit out here, but
Yeah.
it's actually frightening if you're not doing the work and you go out there and try to impress people. They know it in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Well, I had Marco, a good friend of mine, and of course I say this with all due respect to them. I was said, and as where was it? I can't remember where it was, but Marco been so used to doing a lot of the gigs that we were doing back then. They were bigger shows, and even if it was something like the Misty Moon, once you get up there and the lights are on you, you're on stage and the people are out there. You don't. I thought I'd turn this thing off. And he's sit there and he's just an incredible player. He's this marvelous, wonderful player and stuff. So I brought him to one of the gigs that I was doing. He said he wanted to play. And it's just he and I. And, if you where you're sitting, like, there's, I'm sitting here and people were that close, about as, you're looking right at their face and they're sitting there drinking. I mean, you could just sort of like reach over and touch their hands, and stuff. And Marco was playing it. He's got this thing. He's sweating and he's looking around. And I was going, "What's the matter with you?" Because Mister, he was so incredibly intimidated because he could see people so close and right there in front of you that you could just reach out and touch them. There was a whole different ball of wax. It's one thing being able to sort of get yourself in your little world and perform, but it's another when you're actually looking people right at you. It's like a whole new world of doing things. So in what you were saying, it's absolutely true.
And when you're in that setting, it's really hard to hide the clams, right? You can't.
Oh no, you got to get there's you got to be pretty good at what you're doing. I mean, there's not a day that I'm not walking on the trail or whatever I do to keep myself busy, because we've had a lot of time on our hands based on what's going on. So you make yourself crazy, or I do a lot of walking, try to remember some lyrics, So the idea being with the clams and stuff, you got to stay on top of it, because you still have to respect the people that are coming to see you. You can't just sort of figure, that'll be okay. You do the best you can. So so shut up and work on it.
Absolutely.
Some great catchphrases here tonight. All right, we'll do one more break, but we're not really going anywhere. We're gonna do one more break, and when we come back, I'd like to finish off and maybe just talk about some of your accomplishments or your prize times because you're